Bringing people and communities together on civilised.org.
Your listening station.
The destination featured this week is Berlin. Find out what you need to know about the city. And I also cover travelling by trains. That's all coming up on the John Guinn Travel Show on civilised.org. Hello and welcome to the John Guinn Travel Show on civilised.org. Travel news at the end of the show includes, of course, Gatwick and Heathrow, a couple of airports that aren't Gatwick and Heathrow, and also news about increasing violent crime at a destination that may surprise you. And also give you a brief introduction by travelling by trains. But before we get on to that, let's get on to the destination this week. Now, sometimes travellers, and I include myself in this, they treat people's lives as like Disneyland. As an example, lots of people, myself included, say you should get to Cuba before the Americans get there, because it is a chance to be somewhere that doesn't have any influence. There's no McDonald's, there's no Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's just somewhere different, and you could only be in Cuba. If the Americans go there, the big business comes in, Coca-Cola goes up and all that. It takes some of the magic away. But that's imposing what you want to see and do when you go away, and perhaps making the residents suffer a little bit. It's the same with Berlin. Now, Berlin I always wanted to visit when it was a divided city, but I never got round to it. I did go to West Germany and along the border with East when I was a kid, and there's a river and you could see the East Germans across looking through their binoculars at us. My dad, I was a kid at the time, took the wrong turn and was going over this bridge. We were technically in no man's land and had to turn around and go back. And you got a little bit of a feeling about what it's like living near the border with East Germany, but we never made it to Berlin. But again, that was thinking, well, I don't really want Berlin to be unified again because of my selfishness. I want to see what it's like when it was under the East-West divide. And it's the same with the Far East as well, like we mentioned a few weeks ago, Myanmar or Burma, where more and more tourists are coming, so it's taken some of the magic away from it because it's now becoming more developed to cater for it, but at the same time it's helping the locals there. So that was in mind when I did this interview about Berlin. Christian from the Berlin Tourist Office talks us through various bits and pieces about Berlin. And at the back of my mind, I was always thinking, I wish I'd gone there when you're still divided, but I have to get rid of that. I should stop being a selfish traveller. But the interview was recorded over Skype. My computer had broken, so it was recorded over Skype using my mobile phone. So the sound does get a little bit ropey every now and again, but do bear with it. Berlin sounds a fascinating place to visit, and I will get there one day. It just won't be divided, but at least I can still say I've been to Berlin, which is one of the most famous capitals in the cities in the world. So let's get on with what Christian has to say about his city. How far away is Berlin from London?
Around 1,000 kilometers, means around 600 miles.
Okay. If we was to fly over to Berlin from the UK, which of your airports is the closest to the city centre?
The most close airport to the city centre is Tegel, and it's only 15 minutes by taxi from the city centre. And the flight time from London to Berlin is around 1 hour 45.
As you're only in Europe, how long would it take if we was to go there by train?
Oh, if you go by train, you have to go from the main train station, from St. Pancras to the main train station in Berlin, and that will take you around 10 hours via Brussels and with the Eurostar.
I think I'll stick to flying then. It's definitely quicker.
Yes, it's definitely quicker, yeah.
Berlin's a very historical city. What is the brief history of it?
I think the most important thing about Berlin's history is the division of the city and, of course, the reunification of the city. because this year we celebrate the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, and this is the main topic this year.
Is there any of the wall still left?
Yes, of course. We have several parts of the wall. We have, for example, in the northern part, which is really the original setting, because the wall is not only one wall. It's a system of defense or protection, how the East German said. It's two walls, and there's a death strip in the middle. So there's a rest part of it you can see, which is really very, very interesting. But we also have the longest part in the southeast of the city, which is called East Side Gallery, which is the world's biggest street painting. So you have a colored wall, which more than 100 artists painted after the wall came down.
What does the painting show?
Different, very, very different ideas, imaginations, dreams about the war, but also about living without any frontiers, about freedom, the whole range, I would say, the whole range around a peaceful revolution.
Okay. Moving on to the area covered by Berlin, how many districts make up the city?
We have 12 districts, and they're divided in sub-districts. So if you talk to Berlin people, they will say, for example, oh, you go to Kreuzberg, which is a part of Friedrichshain-Kreuzberg, or you go to Prenzlauer Berg, which is part of Prenzlauer Berg and Wedding. So it's mixed.
Is there any part of the city which is rarely visited by tourists?
Rarely visited,
yeah,
or highly visited.
Rarely to start with. Is there a bit that's not as popular as the rest?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for example, Spandau or Köpenick are districts which are really nice, and they have some historic centers, but they're not so much visited, yes.
Okay. So which one is the most popular, and why?
Pardon?
Which district is the most popular then, and why is it the most popular?
I would say if you see it in a touristic aspect, the most popular district is Mitte, because, for example, the Brandenburg Gate, our main landmark, is located in Mitte. Young people, a lot of young people like to go to Kreuzberg or Friedrichshain because that's the party miles.
We've done the most popular and the least popular districts, but taking all the districts together, what do they offer a visitor from the UK?
I would say the historical part of the city is mainly in the district Mitte, but if you want to go, for example, for cafes, restaurant, and nice shopping, you can go to Prenzlauer Berg, for example, or you go to Friedrichshain. If you really like historical sites like castles and so on, you go to Charlottenburg, and they have also very nice museums, and of course the Palais of Charlottenburg. And if you want to shop until you drop, you go to Kurfürstendamm or Friedrichstraße.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Coming up, we've got Eric and Ernie.
Join me here on Seclo Sounds.
In your smile.
It's from 1975. Eric and Ernie were four.
Gary, it's not Eric and Ernie, it's Earl and Ernie, the Cape Brothers, Union Man.
Oh, I see.
Gary Fitz here, every Monday, 10 o'clock.
Earl and Ernie.
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Travel news includes a story which makes you realise that carry on abroad can still happen when you book your trip. But at the moment, the destination I'm featuring this week is Berlin. I'm speaking to Christian from the Berlin Tourist Office via Skype. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the sound does get a little bit ropey every now and again. I apologise for that, but it was Skype over a mobile phone. So I think the technology was great, even if the result isn't perfect. We're now going to find out how easy it is to get around Berlin. How easy is it to get around to see all these?
Very easy because we have a very good public transport system. We have a metro, we have trams, we have regional trains, and you can all use them with one ticket, which is very easy to access.
How expensive are your cabs if somebody doesn't want to take the train?
Yeah. If you don't take the train and you don't buy this Berlin Welcome Card, for example, which offers you the whole range of public transportation and special discounts for museums, restaurants, and so on. If you go by taxi, for example, to go from the airport, Tempelhof, to the city center, to Brandenburg Gate, I mentioned before, it's around 15 British pounds.
Okay. What about accessibility? Is it easy to get around if you're less able to do all the walking? If you're a wheelchair user?
Yeah, it's very easy. All the museums, all the public museums, public institutions, also most of the restaurants, and also the public transportation is ready for easy access.
That's good to hear. London's not quite switched on at that at the moment.
Yeah.
What annual events are held in Berlin?
Oh, the biggest event is the New Year's Eve party, with more than 1 million visitors every year in front of the Brandenburg Gate. But we also have, Food Week, Art Week, Fashion Week, Music Week. we have every day 1,500 events in the city.
That's an awful lot, isn't it? That's a fair bit.
Sometimes you just have to decide what you do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not easy to decide because it's so much.
You mentioned about meal week. What is a traditional Berlin meal?
The traditional Berlin meal, the most well-known one is the curry sausage, but we also eat a lot of fish, like pike perch. It's a fish from the region. We eat liver with onions, roasted onions and smashed potatoes. And we have a lot of new cuisine, like Berlin is the world capital of vegan restaurants. We have 26 vegan restaurants here. So this is right now very, very trendy.
Yeah, I'm a vegan, so that's good. I was in Germany 25 years ago, and I did struggle to find something without meat in. So it's all changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it changed a lot. Yeah. I think the gastronomy is a very good symbol for the change of the city.
If you're somebody like me who can't speak German, is it easy to get around to make yourself understood?
Yeah, especially the young people speak English, and Berlin is a very international city. We have 187 nations living here, so I think it's harder to find a real Berliner than somebody from anywhere in the world. So no problem with conversation in English.
That's good to hear. Being British, I'm very bad with second languages.
That is also a development of the last 25 years. Berlin became really a very cosmopolitan city. And this is a big change to the situation before the fall of the wall.
You've already said you've got a lot on in the city. What's the minimum amount of time you should spend there to get the best of the city?
3 months. No.
3 months. Okay.
I would say it's a long weekend, like 3 nights, 4 nights would be convenient. To see the major sites, and then you have to come back, of course, because the city changes very fast. And to be updated, you have to come again and again and again.
What would be the best time of year to visit?
I prefer summer because everything is outside, and we have a lot of beach bars, restaurants outside. You can even take dancing classes outside. We have movie theater, a lot of things outside, and the Berliners and our visitors love to be outside. It's not too hot, but it's very, very nice and calm.
Ask you what would be the ideal length of time to spend in the city? So if you say you got 7 nights, what would you see if you stayed for 7 nights?
I would highly recommend to do a trip on a boat.